You just made me take a huge breath before there, because I really want to talk to you from an eye level, you know? No, it's okay, it was only for him, it was not for you. When I was taken to Gaza, I was kidnapped, I was caught 3 times. And the last time, I was caught by 13 Hamas terrorists. 13. You doesn't have to, don't force him. I just want him to hear it. He's a person. He's entitled to have his own agenda and opinions. We do not have to have the same opinions. I just want you to know the facts that you talked about, really. Right before the debate started, I wanted to ask you where you're from. Are you from here, from the US? Okay, I visited the US. I have the facts because I've been here. Have you visited Israel before? No. Have you visited Gaza before? Probably not. When he asked you what is a Palestinian and you couldn't answer it, then I'm asking you what is a Gaza civilian? Can you answer me? I will answer to you. When you're advocating for that, and I'm telling you, you're advocating for not have rights, for women to not have rights, because women do not have rights in the Arab society. You're advocating for people, you know, you're talking about genocide. Well, I'm here to say, when October 7 happened, and that's a fact, they told me it in the inside. They didn't know about the Nova Festival music. They didn't know that we have 3,000 people in there. They planned, and they told me that, they planned to move on and kill as much as they could in Beersheba, in Tel Aviv, in Haifa. They wanted to slaughter everybody. You know what? Maybe you will not believe me. I can present you my videos that I took there. Do you know how many bodies I saw? Do you know how many bodies were there? Do you know how much violence was taken on me? I was caught in the middle of a lynch. I wish that we can have a private conversation, not with this whole audience, because it's terrifying me to hear people have that thoughts. And I really want to hear your side. I swear, really. That's me, that's my agenda of coexisting. We went to dance. We went to dance. We didn't attack. Don't get annoying. I'm really asking you as a person, do you support those actions? If you don't support those actions and October 7th didn't happen, would we sit here talking right now?
Well, yeah, actually, we probably would.
Yeah, you think so? Did you ever saw our people attacking that amount of people from the start, from our side? I'm asking simple question. I don't understand in politics. When I was entering Gaza, and there is a video of that, I saw 100% of civilians celebrating me being taken. I didn't know about the other hostages.
Wow. Folks, that was former Hamas hostage Moran Stella Yanai. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She was at a debate with UCLA encampment leader Adnan Doyle and Mossab Hassan Youssef, the son of Hamas co-founder Sheikh Hassan Youssef, in that video released on Monday. Folks, this is Poppin' Politics. It's Monday, of course. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Back with us tonight is Nicole Bennett, director of the Black Conservative Federation. And of course, it's Monday, so we have Tyrone Keys of Soldiers of Finance. How are you all doing tonight?
Doing good,
Wonderful,
KJ.
wonderful.
Great. All right. As I always say, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We're here on YouTube and Rumble. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop in Politics. I see the chat is already on fire. We love our chat.
Yes.
Folks, we shout out all of our super chats. So it's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation. Already see Kung Fu CJ says, hello, ladies. Hello, Kung Fu CJ. Thank you so much for your $2 super chat. But again, that is the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation. Also, hello to our members, Freedom Seekers. That's our club here on YouTube. So we also shout out our Freedom Seekers members who comment. You can join the club here. You get perks such as special emojis. We send out Freedom Seeker content only. So we put only content on that. So certainly join the Freedom Seekers Club. Again, that's the best way to get your voice heard. Folks, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us, subscribe, so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, let's set it off. I wanted to start out tonight with that clip. I mean, when I saw it, I said, we have to talk about this, amongst other things, of course, of what's going on in the world. As you guys saw on the description tonight, we're talking about, are we about to enter World War III? I want to talk about that, but I had to talk about this clip because it was just so inspiring. You know, she wasn't coming from a political standpoint. She was coming from a place of her experiencing that awful terrorist attack on Israel. And she's speaking to the gentleman, trying to just connect with him on a human platform there. And he didn't seem like he was really accepting of her. What do you guys think of that?
You know, I agree, KJ. It's something about the PTSD that happens to people after something traumatic. And although she was being very polite and very civil, you could feel the grief on her as she was explaining to him, quite patiently, I might add. She was explaining to him, you just don't understand. You've never been here. You don't understand the dynamics of this. This is more than a philosophical argument. This is my life. I was taken hostage. And while they were taking me hostage, people cheered. Cheered.
Right.
Her demise. That's something that's going to live with her forever and ever. And here's this frat boy sitting there, you know, looking like he thinking about next week's Saturday football game. He just doesn't get it. And again, we're not doing our children a service with this kind of, you know, lackadaisical education that's happening at some of our, especially Ivy League schools nowadays.
Yeah.
But I actually think that he was prepared for a different line of attack. And when she just simply spoke of her experience, not history, okay, not politics, just her experience, he was totally unprepared. Looked like he wanted to be anywhere other than there, especially when she asked him, you know, have you visited these places that you're, you know, advocating for, or that you claim to be so familiar with this situation that's lasted for thousands of years. So to me, he had the look of capitulation, know where to go from there.
Yeah, I agree. And she even also, she emphasized that they don't hold the same opinions, but that it's important to understand the facts. And so this kind of brings me into this whole issue we have going on with Ukraine. So, folks, I'm nervous about this. You know, we had the election. Donald Trump is our president-elect who was elected, unanimously. I mean, it was a huge mandate. And it seems like the Democrats are not going to give up power easily. Are they? We saw after the election, and I don't know about you all, I'd love to get your opinion on this, but I feel like I'm waiting for the shoe to drop because they just have been so quiet. We didn't see, you know, as much as I have expected for the Democrats to do all sorts of things after Trump was elected. I get an eerie feeling that they are plotting, they are trying to thwart his or stunt his agenda. And we see it now with the way that the Biden has approved these long-range U.S. weapons by Ukraine to target locations in Russia. I mean, is this what they're trying? They see that he was elected, or now they're trying to ruin his agenda by creating World War III? Will they really do that? I want to start with you, Tyrone, on this one.
Well, I think that it's in the interest of the country to have more than one viable political party. Okay. But at this point, the Democrats are going the way of the Whigs, and let them. Okay. They know that not only did he have a mandate strictly from the standpoint of the Electoral College win and the popular vote win, but also his coattails that swept in the House and the Senate. Okay. And if you look around the country, a lot of local races may not have switched party, but they did become more conservative. London Breed got kicked out in San Francisco. Pamela Price was recalled in Oakland. All right. So there's been a shift here. They don't want to recognize it. Fine. Let them go into the dustbin of history. These people are insufferable children. They're not serious. You've got Debbie Wasserman Schultz out there calling Tulsi Gabbard, a woman who is an officer in the U.S. Army, served this country as a combat medic in combat, okay? Former congresswoman, calling this woman a Russian asset. These people are filth. And the Democrat Party is in its death throes. Yeah.
Nicole, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, am I jumping to conclusions here with this headline out today, or actually yesterday, Biden's decision to allow Ukraine to use long-range weapons on Russia? I mean, why would they do this in the midst of the end of the presidency when they know this was kind of a red line that Putin set?
Well, because exactly that reason. He's a lame duck. You know, the things that's going to happen between now and January 20 are going to be kind of frightening, right? The good news is that we've already lined up appropriate people to deal with this. And Putin and Trump have been talking, and he's been talking to all of the parties. The reason why maybe 8 or 10 shows ago, I painted that picture of why it was so important to vote for Trump, because I don't want to see anybody's son or daughter flown back to Delaware in that silver casket with an American flag draped over it because of something that's happening in another part of the world. I'm not an isolationist by any stretch of the imagination. I know that the United States has allies and we need to protect those allies. However, this is 2024. There's no reason for us to put boots on the ground, but this move by Biden is definitely crossing that line with Putin. You know, in my estimation, we have given the Ukraine too much money, you know, way too much money. At some point, you have to defend yourself. At some point, as a nation, you have to defend yourself. You can't expect the American people's goodwill to fight your war, to lose our youth, come in and rebuild your country, restart your economy. You're asking for a lot when you were a marginal ally with us at best. So we have to take a hard look at this. January 20 is going to come, and KJ, all the things that you're feeling intuitively are going to happen. They are preparing to attack us back, meaning the Democrats. They are preparing how they can interfere with getting Trump's nominees not cleared, right? So they're doing all of that. We've already heard about, you know, Matt Gaetz and all these, you know, underage parties, and they don't like Pete Hegseth, and they don't like this person and that person. But you know what? The American people like Donald Trump. Flat out. If you were watching football on Saturday and Sunday, you saw more people doing that Trump dance. America has this new energy, this new inspiration. We're just waiting for them to stop crying long enough to catch up. But they're not doing that. They're doubling down. Some of them are doubling down on it. And the truth be told, I hope they continue to double down.
Yep.
Because what's going to happen is we're going to get more than 4 years of Republican rule. We'll probably end up with 12 or 18 years, and I'll take that. We'll straighten out the country. We'll roll back these stupid EV mandates, including here in Maryland. We'll roll those mandates back, and life will be good for us. Listen, folks, if you don't want to spend $50,000 on an electric vehicle that may or may not start in the wintertime, that you have to plug up and sit there and wait for an hour before you can drive, hit the like button. We're over these folks. We're over these mandates. We're over all of this crying and lamenting and gnashing of teeth. Get your lives together, Democrats. Get your life together. You're supposed to be a good American first and then partisan. Yeah. That's what you're missing.
You know, KJ,
before you start there, Tyrone, I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Guys, thank you so much. Ren Button with the $20 super chat.
Thank you.
Ukraine is their cash cow. They want to milk it as long as they can and will do whatever dirty tricks they need to keep it. Military industrial complex equals money laundering for the oligarchs, Dems and rhinos. Well said, Ren. Well said. Laura Matisse with the $5 super chat, and she's a freedom seeker. Thank you so much. She says, did you all see where Trump went to the fight and the guy who won gave him his belt? I did. Yeah. I did see that. Yeah, it was fabulous. Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat says we must stay watchful now. Absolutely. Tyrone, what were you going to say there?
I highly doubt.
Laura, hi everyone. Yes, to the $2 super chat. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
I highly doubt Putin is going to take the bait on this. He's smarter than that. He knows he's got to wait 2 months for some new leadership that will be serious and try to walk us to a path to peace in this whole thing. But it's important that people realize this was their plan if Kamala Harris had won. Exactly. They would have escalated that thing, and we would have been in World War III in short order. That was their plan. That's why they want to, send America this parting gift of, an increased escalation, increase in the escalation tempo over in that part of the world. But I highly doubt Putin's going to take the bait on that.
I agree.
And then we see, Biden just announced that he's trying to expedite as much money as he can before he gets out of office to Ukraine. He's trying to expedite the remaining approved U.S. aid. So, these people don't care about Americans. That's their number one thing, to get as many illegals here and to ship as much money out as they can to foreign places. And as I think it was Ren who commented and said, it's just a way to funnel money through to these oligarchs and these people that they're supporters. So I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
And then what do? They continue. They saw that this whole idea of woke policies, DEI, and all of that was totally shut out in the election, and they continue to do it. That leads me to the next topic, Pete Hegseth. So as you guys know, he was nominated to Secretary of Defense by President-elect Trump. And they're trying to paint this guy as some white supremacist. This here is the former NAACP president, Sherrill Ifill, on MSNBC. Take a look at what she says. This is clip 1.
This is someone who, is known to be a white supremacist, known to be an extremist, whose platform, whose book is basically about his opposition to the advancement of black officers to the top brass. And the military is actually a very important area for black advancement. And so him selecting that particular person, and by the way, the Department of Defense has 3 million employees. There's no evidence that this man has ever run anything. The fact that he is a veteran is simply insufficient. And so those two, because these are two very, very important positions, strike me as eminently dangerous. And you're right, it takes our attention, but it also demands our attention, because it shows us that Trump has gone off the rails, and he was never really on the rails. But there is an even heightened sense of impunity about him now that should alarm us.
I would just say that Hegseth would say that he would deny strenuously he's a white supremacist. He has, I just want to
so did Trump.
Put that in the record. He has tattoos that garnered the attention of essentially National Guard commanders when he was going to be sent on the mission to guard the 2020 inauguration with Joe Biden, and was pulled from that, he says, because he was identified as an extremist, in part because of those tattoos. He thinks it's crazy. I just want to give the full side of the story.
But if you've read what he's written about the people in the military, about gay people in the military, about women in the military, about black people in the military, especially in supervisory positions, he is an extremist.
Okay, so we are going to actually do what the reporter, the interviewer, should have done and really fact checked and went through these tattoos. First, before we do that, I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you so much, Mark. Wow, thank you so much, Mark, with the $50 super chat. Because no one's going to out super chat me tonight. You all deserve it. I appreciate and love you all. We love you too, Mark. Thank you. Certainly appreciate you. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says, I live 2 miles from Fort Stewart. They have sent thousands of troops to Poland. They want war before Trump gets into office. Wow. Folks, we got to stay vigilant. Like someone else said, stay vigilant, continue to keep our voices out about all of this and pretty much stand up against it. Because this is what we're trying to do.
Be aware and prepare. That's what we have to do.
Exactly.
So
I want to talk about this woman. I mean, why do they continue to do this? These leftists, they continue to push this racial grift. It's not working.
Because she's not economically viable in any other field of endeavor. This is the only way that she can afford food and rent. This the only subject she can expound on is race. Okay. When you see these people like her, Roland Martin, Bakari Sellers, what's the other crying Negro?
Joy Reid.
Joy Reid. I mean, these people.
Al Sharpton.
They are simply bottom feeders who have again, we wake up tomorrow morning and racism is no more. All of those people I just mentioned to be down at Our Daily Bread trying to get a bowl of soup.
Well, they already are. You see them. MSNBC has fallen. I think it was their prime coverage has fallen like 54%. CNN is about to lay off some of their, star pundits. They are realizing from this election, people have pretty much said, I don't believe you guys anymore. You're not legitimate. Right now, the biggest person that, really sways any type of political talking and things is Joe Rogan. And why? Because he's authentic.
He's a regular person. I mean, I think the point that I completely agree with Tyrone, make no mistakes. She is a race hustler. This is what she does. And there's a certain part of the Democrat base, and I hate to say that. I mean, as a Black person, it pains me. But, most Black Democrats, 60 plus, this feeds them. This is their nourishment. Any kind of race hustle, they buy it hook, line, and sinker. Although they've had great jobs, they've raised their children, they own their homes, they vacation twice a year, they still want to believe that a man has his foot on your neck. It is just something that's inside of them, that hurt that just never gets healed. However, as those people, are moving on to glory, I'm not trying to kill anybody off, but they are moving out.
Right? Let me ask you this, Nicole, before you continue. Why didn't we get that? Why didn't we get that gene? There's 3 Black folk on here right now. What happened to us?
You know what? I'm going to be very honest. It was called the 80s. This is what happened. Yeah. When our parents were busy grinding, trying to make that money, during the go-go Reagan years, right? They said, listen, you're old enough, mature enough. Here's a key. Go in the house. Don't let no boys in my house. Don't touch nothing you're not supposed to touch. Do your homework and eat what I put on your plate. So we learned to be self-sufficient, and we saw the world from a different purview, where these people were fed a steady diet from the pulpit at church on Sunday, you know, their parents, their grandparents, they hate us, they hate us, they hate us, they hate us, they hate us. We were brought up in the, you know, anybody can be successful if you work hard enough. I never forget that when I was a kid, I think it was like in third, fourth, maybe fourth grade, Ronald Reagan had that presidential patch, you know, and everybody wanted the patch. You had to run fast, climb a rope, you know, do some forward rolls and some other stuff. Whatever he wanted me to do, if I had to kill the rest of my class, they were going to die so I could get that patch. It was something about the inspiration that came along at that time that made us turn our backs on that everybody hates you kind of sentiment. It's poison. It kills you. It holds you back mentally. It holds you back spiritually. You know, if you are one of the people who survived that hatred, go ahead and hit the like button, you know, because what these race hate hustlers are doing right now, they're trying to find a way to get their Democrat base to come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Nothing is scarier than the black boogeyman. Nothing.
Yeah. You know, I used to give baby boomer blacks a pass. I used to say, well, he remembers the black only water fountain. He remembers, she remembers riding in the back of the bus. But no, not anymore. Because you got a black president. You got it. You got a black person at all times orbiting the earth in some sort of space vehicle. Okay. You probably got a black guy at the bottom of the ocean doing some science right now. Black people everywhere in every field of endeavor, knocking it out of the park. Okay. A couple of years ago, we even had a black NASCAR driver. So you overcame. Okay.
And it would be more if we knew how to keep our families together, if, you know, we cared for our households, if we cared about education more so and things, it would even be more than this.
Right.
But we have a single mother epidemic in our communities that is not doing us any, it's not helping us.
You're right.
Not only single
And we
mothers.
won't talk about it.
What we need to talk about is not so much the single mothers, but the childless, I mean, the parentless children. So when fathers are even in the household, if all he wants to do is go to work and come home and play his video game, are you really parenting that child? Are you spending any quality time with that child? We need parents to actually parent. Right. And when people don't parent their children, the world will. And the world is not here to love you, baby. It is just not. Right. It is just not. We talk about skin hunger all the time with teenagers. And one of the things, I worked in behavioral health for many years. We talk to parents when we have family night and say, when was the last time you actually hugged your child? Like, put him in your arms and just hugged him. I don't hug him because he's stinky. You know, the boys get about 12 years old, the hormones start pouring out their pores. Or, you know, my daughter doesn't let me hug her like that anymore. You're the parent. Hug her. Skin hunger is real. When you see those kids, oh, I got the puppy love, I love him. It's because you haven't touched that child in a meaningful, loving way in probably 5 to 6 years, and they'll get it anywhere they need it. Human beings need touch. Love your children. Hug your even if that I got 19 nephews. I hug them all the time. They're married and got their own kids. I'm hugging and loving everybody because it's a human thing. It makes us feel connected. It gives us power, right? When you're a part of a group, you do better. When you think that you're a singleton and you're out here, it's me against the world. That didn't work for Tupac either. Honey, that doesn't work. It just really does not work. You need a tribe. You have to have a tribe.
You're absolutely right. And I want to fact check this interview on MSNBC. So first of all, according to an interview in Big Lead, Hegseth's love of body art dates all the way back to high school. He's quoted as saying, "I always wanted tattoos. Thankfully, my father dissuaded me early in life because I wanted out of high school was a basketball hoop with a flaming basketball going through the hoop." This is the type of tattoo that he wanted.
Who's that? The Phoenix Suns, I think.
Right. That's what I was about to say. Not somebody's logo.
Yeah, but he didn't actually get his first tattoo until he was well into adulthood. So he got his first tattoo while he was on vacation. It's called I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Dus Volt, Deus Volt, is inscribed on his right arm. And the Latin phrase may be obscure to some, but it means God will it. Then he has a Jerusalem cross on his chest. This is a big cross surrounded by smaller crosses. So this dates back to the Crusades as a symbol of, something that like a battle cry. Mm-hmm. Then he also has on another arm, "We the People," on an American flag that features a machine gun on his upper arm as well. This is something, accordingly to this article, dating back to 1775 in Roman numerals. And then lastly, he has a join or die symbol on his inner forearm, and that's an infantry regiment patch on his arm. So again, many of these tattoos really reflect his love for America. He's a Christian guy, love for God. Where's the white supremacy? Help me find that. I don't see it.
I'm gonna help you find it, because this is how the liberals work. This is how their mind works. Okay, so he's got Christianity, he's got Second Amendment, Constitution, and pride in his military unit. So to the warped liberal mind, all of these things equate to things that are verboten to them. Okay. If he had, I identify as, I don't know, a mermaid across his chest, that would be perfectly fine with them. But anything that is rooted in Christianity, or especially the founding documents of this country, the Second Amendment, okay, they got a big problem with that. And then they engage in the disingenuous behavior, like you saw that lady go on, and she knows that none of the tattoos are racist, white supremacist, or anything negative. In fact, their own organization that they like to go to and call them fact checkers, Snopes, says the same thing. It says none of this stuff is Nazi related or anything like that. So they know that. And the guy, Chris Hayes, who is another little drone with the black glasses, he should have been much more vociferous in fact checking her. But
absolutely,
Yeah, but all they need is for someone to say, well, he's a racist, and I heard it on MSNBC. And for a certain subgroup of their organizations, that's truth. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. I mean, look, they tried to paint Donald Trump as a Nazi. This is the same Donald Trump that maybe 10 years ago was in almost every rap video and, super popular guy and all that kind of thing.
They try to paint us as Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
Our black faces, we're Nazi racist.
Well, that's not a fancy name, so I'll take Nazi racist. That's not as bad as what we usually get. But the truth of the matter is when they get to the point of desperation and they have no facts to stand on, this is what they do. They race bait. And when race bait doesn't work, the next thing is going to be he's sleeping with somebody's child. It's going to be some kind of sex scandal that comes out.
Well, they could. So beyond the race baiting, they're also saying that he's a racist, and that he has something against DEI. So you heard some of that in the interview. She said, pointing to how he apparently in a book that he wrote, he pointed out how the Defense Department is spending around $86 billion on DEI initiatives. And he says that needs to stop. So basically, he doesn't want the army or the military telling him that he's a white supremacist, that, he has white rage, all this type of stuff that we hear in these type of DEI meetings, that we as Black people are victims, that we are victims of a racist country, and, all this type of crap. Who wants to hear that?
They did this thing where I'm a big Star Trek fan, but new Star Trek is woke trash. Okay.
Ooh, I won't watch it. Yeah.
Listen, there's no need to make Star Trek woke. This is the series that featured the first interracial kiss. William Shatner and Nichelle Nichols. Okay.
Right.
There's no need to make the military woke. This is the organization that gave us the Tuskegee Airmen, Colin Powell, and more Black pilots, generals, female fighter pilots. They've been there, done that. All right. First of all, it's not a social experiment. It's a meritocracy in its purest intent. Okay. So for them to get in there and monkey around with this and try to make it something it's not. And look, as far as the transgender thing goes,
who you calling a monkey?
Right. That'll be next one, right? Look, if you want to be transgender, knock yourself out, but do it after you get out of the military. Okay. If you want to be anything you want to be that's not conforming to that military, way of thinking, you're free to do it once you get out, or we got an all voluntary system. You don't have to join.
Exactly. That's the point. I think that one of the things that we're really hitting on hard here with this transgender thing is, it's a choice. It's a choice. This is something that you're choosing to do, that you're willfully going into this situation. And if you're already a service member, you know what the rules are. There's no surprises in the military, and the rules apply equally to everybody. That's one of the beautiful things about the United States military, is that, once everybody's got their covers on and their BDUs, almost everybody looks identical. Black, white, Chinese, it doesn't really make a difference. And they're not judged differently. But when you go out to set yourself apart, it makes it hard. It makes it really hard, because that's not what it's designed for. Now, me personally, I'm not a big DEI person. I think it's trash. It demeans us. It demeans our efforts to be better. It demeans the people who are better. It is not fair by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm going to tell you, I can't wait for it to be gone. I mean, gone from everything, not just the military, but just gone. It is ridiculous, the 2024, that we're still talking about, giving someone an edge because of the color of their skin. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. And it's gone way too far. I don't mind the trainings on, corporate trainings or job trainings where they emphasize our differences and they, explain or teach how to empathize with people that are different than you and things like that. That's fine. But when you do these, but then now within the last 5 or so years, they've turned these trainings into the United States is systemically racist.
Yes.
White people are the oppressors. Black people or anyone of color or BIPOC are the oppressed. And so that is gone way too far. And people are starting to wake up to this racial grift. Look at Joe Rogan. So in a recent episode, he really talked about how he was starting to wake up to the lies of the mainstream media. He says, and I quote, "Obama during the Kamala Harris campaign really changed my opinion of him. I used to have a high opinion of him as an intelligent person. I thought he was just caught up in the system. Watching him straight up lie about Trump with the very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing, which I think worked back in 2017, but people don't believe it anymore. Changed my opinion of him. People have grown numb to this stuff." End quote. This is Joe Rogan, who is not a conservative. He was never a conservative. He was a Bernie guy, I believe, back in the day. He is saying this needs to stop. We know you all are lying.
I mean, the American people have told him it has to stop in the most egregious way. If you're a Democrat, if you're a very liberal Democrat, Tuesday was hard. That election Tuesday was very hard. Wednesday was worse. Thursday was probably, you had to call off work. You had to get through that week, understanding that everything they've said to you was a lie.
Right.
All the money, your hard-earned money that you donated, went to pay the likes of Oprah, "I don't need any more money in my life," Winfrey. Beyonce, "I got enough money. I don't need a husband or anything else." Knowles. I mean, all of these people have a ton of money, and she gave them your hard-earned money. And then they promised you a victory. They can't promise you a victory. Right. They cannot. And so many things they talked about, while we talked about policy, they talked about emotions, right? Donald Trump is a bad man. He's a fascist. Well, they don't even know what that means. He's a Nazi. Well, we know he's not a Nazi. He's already been the president before. We know that he's not going to come in and make everybody march on the line and do all of this foolish stuff. Okay, so now you're losing credibility. And then it got worse. Then Kamala introduced herself to them. The biggest things that happened at the DNC convention outside of the dancing abortion pills out front was the fact that, you know, she could have really given us a run for our money. She really could have, if she had chosen Josh Shapiro, governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she choose him? Because he's Jewish. Because he's Jewish.
Yep.
And her party wouldn't stand for it. They wouldn't stand for something like that. And then you're exactly right.
I don't know how many fingers and toes she needed to count, but the small percentage of people who would have been upset if she picked Shapiro are the same people who were upset at her anyway. Right. These Arab people didn't vote for her either way. So politically, like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Identity politics.
I'm glad she picked him. I'm just going to say it. I'm really glad she picked him. But when you think about all the things that they said to their constituency and said, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but we're just going to hate the Jews just through this. Okay. And no, I'm not going to take your guns. Don't listen to that video. And no. I am not going to ban fracking. Don't listen to what I said 2 weeks ago. Over and over again, people can only lie to you so long. Before you go, you know what? Y'all need a timeout. Go ahead and sit down and think about it. The problem is they're not thinking about it. They're doubling down on dumb.
You know, one thing that they may seem to be realizing, and I think that they're not going to fight Trump as hard on immigration as we might have thought they would, simply because Hispanics have demonstrated they are not a lock for the Democrat vote like Black people are. They thought they were going to get another sycophantic type of voting block like we are, but those Hispanic men shocked the hell out of them. Okay. So I think that they're going to need to come up with a different strategy, because once Hispanics get here, all right, first of all, look, illegal immigration is wrong, but that's one hell of a conservative move to say, I'm going to get up and travel 1,000 miles to change my circumstances. Okay. I mean, in its essence, that's a conservative move. Democrats would just stay in Venezuela. The Democrats have stayed in Venezuela. That's why it sucks. Okay. Right. But once these people get here and they do what's necessary to start creating a life for themselves and their families, the Democrat message doesn't resonate with them.
No, of course not. I mean, most of them come from conservative nations anyway. El Salvador is an incredibly conservative nation. So when you think about what Hispanic voters have done, and Tyrone, I'm going to challenge you on this. Black people are no longer 100% ensconced in the Democrat Party.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
The problem is that there are so many Black women who have been given or earned, at least in their estimation, positions of power within the Democrat Party. They're not going to walk away from that power. I can tell you personally, power feels great. It's like putting on a nice mink coat in the wintertime. It's a beautiful thing, but there's always somebody who's trying to take the coat off your back, right? It's something that you have to continually fight for. So they have dug themselves in. They're entrenched in this party. So they have a vested interest in staying. Black men, on the other hand, not so much. The bros apparently just wanted the economy good. They don't want anybody, as they say, changing their children behind their back. That was a big thing when we talked to Black men, especially in Chicago and Detroit, Pennsylvania, North Philly. You know, one of the things we talked to them about was transgenderism in schools. And they all, to a person, was like, you know what? I didn't really think about it until they start saying they're not even going to send a note home to tell us that my son want to be a girl. As a parent, I want to intervene. I said, well, you know, in some states, you intervene, you go to jail.
Oh, they don't even allow an opt-out in certain areas here in Maryland. What is that, Montgomery County? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Forcing this on your children.
Yeah. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here, guys. We really appreciate you so much. Let's see what you got here. So it says, Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat says, Nicole, I am a Rush baby. I remember.
Me too.
All right. All right. Laura with the $10 super chat says, and they are really mad because the things they said about Trump they see aren't true. And everyone sees it that it's then being racist. I love genuinely people. All right, Laura. Yeah, we're right there with you. And with the $20 super chat says his tattoo talking about Pete Hegseth says Deus Vult, which is Latin for God wills it. Used by Christians for 1,000 years. I have items with this phrase on it, and I'm not white nor a supremacist of any kind. Only God is supreme. Amen, Red. Thank you so much. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says the multiple cross represents the Crusades. The Crusades started because of Muslim conquest. All right. Thank you. Mark with the $10 super chat says whichever of Trump's picks that the Dems approve of is definitely part of the swamp. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Laura Matisse with the $5 super chat says that was the only thing they had. Pathetic. Yeah, the race hustling, the racial grift. Yeah, that's exactly all they have. I want to move on here. I want to talk about Laken Riley and the trial that is going on currently. I know you mentioned, Tyrone, that these Democrats may go along somewhat with Trump's immigration policy, but we will see as we get to Katie Hobbs out of Arizona. I don't know about that. So I want to talk about that next. Guys, we have merch. Check out our merch store. We have brand new items on there. If you've been on there in the past, now we have new items. You can check it out at www.popandpoliticslive.com. Great items on there: hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, mugs, all types of items. Really cool stuff. We got new stuff coming in once a month, so definitely check it out if you have not done so, or if it's been a while and you got to see what new stuff we have on there.
You know what, KJ, would be cool with the merch, especially the hoodie on Inauguration Day. For those of us who are going downtown, wear your pop and politics. You know,
oh yeah.
Come out and represent with the girls. Come out and represent because we're gonna be there. We will be there. Come out and represent. That would be very, very cool.
And it'll keep you warm because I'm sure it's going to be pretty cold. Yeah.
Well, you know, if you get cold, you can go back, warm up in your hotel room. I hear that Black sororities and fraternities have left a lot of rooms open for some reason.
Do you know the wonderful thing about that is, and this is such a good thing for the economy, when they got those rooms on those particular days, they're non-refundable. So the hotels have the money and the rooms back.
Isn't that
wow.
So they're double dipping on the rooms, but it's going to be an amazing day for people who are staying in the area. I think hotel rooms are maybe at this point 50% above what they normally are. But for people who are coming into town, it's going to be an amazing day. It is just going to be a day full of inspiration and excitement. And, you know, there's nothing like partying with the other Americans. It's nothing like it. Nothing like it. I can't wait.
Absolutely. And especially after this long election season, especially for us Trump supporters. And if you guys, I know I did this last week. I want to do it again. You know, I know we have a range of people who watch on here. So I want to know if you are MAGA, you know, you are a Make America Great Again MAGA supporter. I want you to comment MAGA. If you are Christian conservative, that's your kind of issue there, if that's where you kind of lie, you support Trump, but your main thing is Christian conservative. I want you to comment that. Then I know we have a bunch of mama bears out there. You know, if you are a mama bear and you are one of your main issues is to keep, you know, gender ideology out of schools, keep boys out of the girls' bathrooms, comment mama bear. Or if you're a papa bear out there, you're feeling the same way. These children's issues were number one for you in this election. Comment papa bear. And then lastly, 2A. I want to know who are my Second Amendment folks. You know, Shelly, Nicole, our own Second Amendment is important. P2. Comment 2A. I just want to see where you guys are on all those issues.
Let's get them 2A's hitting that like button. Let's go, fam.
Yes,
let's go.
Like button. Yeah. Before we get to Laken Riley, just to talk about what you just mentioned as far as the inauguration, and a lot of us just feeling just a sigh of relief that Trump was elected. You know, I was reading an article today in the Free Press, and they were talking about a piece written by let me see here, I have it here. Justine Bateman. So Justine Bateman, remember Family Ties? She played Mallory, Alex Keaton's sister, who was also played by what's his gentleman's name?
Michael
J. Fox. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Michael J. Fox, right. And so she had put out a viral tweet recently. It got over 140,000 followers. And she wrote, decompressing from walking on eggshells for the past 4 years. She said common sense was discarded, intellectual discussion was demonized, complete intolerance became almost a religion, and one's professional and social life was threatened almost constantly. Those that spoke otherwise were ruined as warning to others. Their destruction was displayed in the town square of social media for all to see. So, in other words, she said out loud what we all, including on the chat, have been feeling and thinking. You know, finally, we can like take a breath and just be like, we know there are more people out there that believe like we do believe, because Trump won overwhelmingly. And so I'd say that just to say, when I'm so excited about this inauguration, I'm hoping to meet a lot of viewers. We get together somehow and connect down there, and just I'm just so excited. I don't know about you guys, but I am.
You can pop stuff so we can see you, right? So we know who's who while we're out and about. But do you know one of the things I think that we're seeing now is people wearing their MAGA hats. You know, their ultra MAGA shirts and make America healthy again. People are kind of coming out of the closet, and it's a very interesting thing because I did the election night coverage for Fox DC, Fox 5 DC, here in the area where I live. So I go to this place in Indian Head. This is close to where I live. One of my dad's elementary school friends has a barbecue joint. It's called Dale's. They do smoked barbecue and that kind of thing. So I go down there and get ribs for the boyfriend every now and again. And soon as I walked in, she starts clapping for me. Her and her husband and the granddaughter. And I'm like, it's not my birthday, right? No, we saw you on TV and you're a celebrity. And I'm like, a celebrity? Like, I'm on TV all the time. What are you talking about? And they said, you know what? You have to be careful because now people know that you're a Republican. And they were dead serious. So I had to tell them, if you didn't know that I was a Republican, there's something wrong with you. I mean, you know, quite literally, there's a sign out in front of my house, just so people know, don't knock unless you're conservative, right? I don't do tyranny. I mean, I rotate the sign so people get a good taste of where I am with it, especially the 2A signs, just in case they want to feel froggy and jump out there. But it's important to me to live a true and honest life, right? So when you think of all the people who were afraid to do that, who are now going, woo, I could put my t-shirt on. Now, you know, I can do what I need to do to feel like a whole person. It is crazy to me that the Democrat Party held the entire nation hostage. Their absolute foolishness.
Well, almost the entire nation. There were a lot of people, for better or for worse. Listen, I'm from West Baltimore. I'm not hiding my ideology from anybody. I'm absolutely 100% unapologetic. And my brothers are the same way. Okay. We're supporting Trump. F you if you don't like it. Okay. We can have a discussion, sure. Okay. But when you come with the intolerance, this is my goddamn vote. All right. And I will spend it the way I see fit. I typically don't wear clothing with words on it. It's just a thing of mine. So, you know, I don't have any MAGA gear, but I wear it on my sleeve. If I'm in a venue and the name, you know, and I have to say Trump, I don't say, and then Trump. No, I say Trump. Okay. I might say it a little louder. All right. And I think that's important because liberals are never ashamed to show you how insane They are. So just people, look, I of course you got to figure out what the skilo is on your job. I get that. You got to eat. But I had, to me, just me, I got to look myself in the mirror. And I'm not kowtowing on that. Okay.
That part.
For any reason.
I totally agree.
Third time I voted for Donald Trump. And I was happy to do so.
You know, I think it's funny though, when we take a look at what's going on nationally, we had some friends over and they were all talking about going to Trump Winery out in Charlottesville. So, you know, usually we just roll up, we never needed a reservation before. We just roll up and, order our flights and sit out on the hill. Beautiful piece of property. Now you need a reservation because there's so many people that just want to be in that space and want to drink the wine and that kind of thing. And I think it's amazing. My heart is full for the rest of America to finally be able to live their best lives, like who they really are. I think that's amazing.
Me too. Thank you guys so much. I want to acknowledge our super chats here. Oh, God. So let me see here. I have Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat. Says, that's right, Tyrone.
I know that's right.
Yes. Laura Matisse with the $10 super chat says, there is this excitement in the air again. I never cared before. Wow. Yes. Nice. Laura with the $2 super chat says, I'm so happy for you ladies. Amen. Yes, indeed. All right. Laura again with the $5 super chat says, that was the only thing they had. Pathetic. Yeah. Talking about the left. I agree, Laura. All right. So to some more serious news, because I want to get to all of this tonight, is the Laken Riley trial. So again, you guys, we've talked about this numerous times on the show. 22-year-old Laken Riley never returned after going for a morning run on the University of Georgia campus in February. Her roommate became worried and called campus police. The nursing student's slain body was found later that day in a wooded area behind Lake Herrick near UGA's intramural fields on campus, according to University of Georgia Police Chief Jeffrey L. Clark. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The next day, Jose Ibarra, 26, who is not a U.S. citizen, was arrested and charged with murder in Riley's death, a case that quickly became a flashpoint in the national immigration debate. The roommate of Jose Ibarra, the man charged with Laken Riley's unaliving, testified that they both received a taxpayer-funded flight to Georgia. Take a look at this. This is clip 2.
Someone else that you got to know, that you lived with while you were here in Athens.
¿Alguien más que llegaste a conocer que vivió con ustedes aquí en Athens?
Giancarlo Hernández.
Giancarlo Hernández.
Okay. And how did you get to Athens?
¿Y cómo llegaron a Athens?
En Nueva York pedimos en Manhattan.
In New York, we asked in Manhattan.
En el Hotel Roosevelt.
And Hotel Roosevelt.
De Manhattan pedimos un vuelo humanitario aquí hasta Atlanta.
In Manhattan, we requested for a humanitarian flight to come here to Atlanta.
And when was that?
¿Y cuándo fue eso?
Como de 9 a 10 de septiembre.
Around the 9th, 10th of September.
And where did you go when you arrived in Athens?
Y cuando llegó a Athens, ¿a dónde fue?
Al aeropuerto airport.
To the airport.
Al aeropuerto de Atlanta.
Airport.
Jackson Airport.
Wow. So they're flying these people from state to state. I mean, this is ridiculous. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm so exhausted with these people. They were giving them $350 a week for food because the free food that they got was culturally inappropriate. I've had a lot of food in my life. I've never had culturally inappropriate food. So it must be a New York thing. But this is really bothersome to me because we're spending tens of thousands of dollars for this court case, for this non-citizen, was likely going to have to put him up in one of our prisons to feed him and heat him and cool him and entertain his jackass because he murdered an American citizen. This is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. And this is squarely at the feet of this failed immigration policy of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
Squarely. You know, I know Tom Homan, he's a friend, and they could not have picked a better border czar. He's not here for this foolishness. Mm-hmm. He is not here for this foolishness. This is absolutely obscene. If this doesn't make you feel like we're under attack, there's something wrong with you. When college, this girl did everything right. You know, went to high school, got out of high school, went to college, is going to her career. She's out for a morning jog and never comes back. It's a mother and father's worst.
Tyrone, what are your response to this?
Well, when we start these mass deportations, it has to be initially concentrated on the criminal element and the single male element. If you're a single male and you don't like what's going on in your country, you need to stay there. And if you want to come here, fine, you can come through the proper channels. But other than that, you need to stick around in your own country and try to change things there. All right. If you're a single guy, I'm not so sure you should be coming up here in droves.
Exactly.
You see that also in Europe. Okay. Lots of single male military age men, okay, coming over the borders of the UK and France and Germany. So that's where we need to start. These mass deportations, criminal element, get Trende Aragua out of here. Look, FBI. Y'all woke, what was the guy's name that they went and raided his house? The Trump confidant.
Navarro? Was it Navarro?
Oh, Steve Bannon?
Oh, there are many. So yeah, just take
there's a list, right?
Right, exactly. And you know, take your equipment, wake them up at 4 o'clock in the morning and get them out of here. All right. I don't want to hear anything about due process. They didn't pay attention to due process when they skipped over the Rio Grande. You need to get them out of here and get America back on track.
Roger Stan.
And quell some of this. And look, we've got criminal element of our own. We don't need to import any.
Thank you. We don't need to import any more rapists and murderers. They were saying that rapes are up in Massachusetts because of, you know, this immigration problem that they're having. They had this same thing going over in the Netherlands where women were like, I'm sick of getting catcalled walking down the street. Not now. Men can't even go outside without fear of being molested. There has got to be a reckoning for this. I get it. I really do understand. If you want a better life, you know, you've done all that you can do in your home nation and you want a better life, but there's a way to come here. That's right. And just hopping the border ain't it. It's just not. It's not fair to you because you don't get any rights when you come across the border. You know, you're not a citizen. And it's high time that we start treating them like non-citizens because they're not. They should not have a vote. They should not have health care. They should not have any of the things that Americans pay for other Americans. At some point, we have to have some kind of national sovereignty. We really do.
And if you come in here legally as an immigrant, you don't get the largesse that I know people, one of whom is still in the process. They're not getting a $10,000 debit card and all of this stuff that the illegal immigrants are getting. So not even the lawfully, you know, people who lawfully enter going through the process, they don't even get this stuff.
Listen, I do immigration physicals, maybe 120, 25 a week. And it's all they can do to pay for the physical because, you know, they're working and they have families and that kind of thing. But the people who've come here the right way, who want the green card, who want to sit for the citizenship exam, who want to do all of those things, have waited and worked the system. They're so angry about the people who are just jumping and coming here and giving them a bad name. Absolutely giving them a bad name. And I don't blame them. I'd be miffed too. I really would.
And not only that, but we have sleeper cells. That's already been proven. Sleeper cells here. The way that the Biden-Harris administration has failed to secure our border, we are going to feel this for years to come. no telling many of these men that we saw come over the border. We saw it because we saw it on multiple videos. We talked about it on this show. They are lying in wait. And when the time comes, when they get the call or the alert or what have you, they're going to do something in our country. They're going to launch some type of attack. So we have to be ready. But then you have people like Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs, who is outright saying she's going to ignore Donald Trump's orders once he gets into office for mass deportations. Take a look at this. This is clip number 6. What's up, guys? We are the ladies of pop and politics, and guess what? We have merchandise. We got merch. Check it out. We have a website, www.popandpoliticslive, where you guys can pick up the latest merchandise that we have here. Here's something. I use this every morning for my cup of tea. It's a Pop and Politics mug. Yeah, I drink every morning tea. Yeah. And I love it. So definitely check it out. We've got some cute shirts on there. Shelly, you have a shirt there that you love, right? Yes. Cute shirt. And so definitely check it out. Again, www.popandpoliticslive.com. Appreciate the support. All right. Go there now. Yes. There you go.
When hearing about the Trump administration's plans for border security, the emphasis really is on this mass deportation. What we saw here today is the actual work happening at our ports of entry that are interdicting drugs, keeping those drugs off our streets, and we need more of that to secure the border here.
As you know, Trump has promised that he would carry out mass deportations on day one of his presidency. Your state is estimated to have 250,000 undocumented immigrants. Some Democrats in your state, like Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, say that she wouldn't allow police to be used to carry out this plan. Would you, as governor, allow state police and National Guard to carry out mass deportations?
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities, and I've been incredibly clear about that.
So you disagree with mass deportations and the fact that the president-elect says that's what he's going to be working on day one?
Well, I think that those efforts are going to divert needed resources that we need here on these drug interdiction and smuggling and trafficking efforts to keep harm out of our communities. We need those resources here, and the coming here today and seeing this operation firsthand just underscores that working in partnership here is how we can best secure the border.
What would worry you the most, Governor, about mass deportations?
Well, I think the diversion of law enforcement from the work that they do every day to keep our communities safe. People hiding in fear. We saw that under previous state policies here, and it harms communities. It tears families apart, and that's not gonna happen on my watch.
What is she talking about?
I want to see her try.
There's the rule of law. These people are here illegally. They're committing crimes, as we just saw what happened with Laken Riley and many, many others. They're joining gangs. This is all part of stopping the flow of fentanyl, stopping the flow of drug smuggling, stopping gangs. These people need to be deported. Why can't she see that?
Well, because that's not their talking point. You know, there were so many people who swept in the power on the strength of abortion, on the strength of women's rights, DEI stuff. So in comes this president who's coming in with common sense, and we're going to stand on the rule of law. We're a nation of laws, right? And let me tell you, federal law rules immigration, not state law. When you come to this country and you hop that border, it's not on the state, it's on the Fed. And I'd like to see her stop Tom Homan. I'd pay good money. That'd be better than that stupid Mike Tyson fight that I had to watch over the weekend. It would be worth all the bang for the buck. But what they don't understand, and you don't even have to go that far to Arizona. We could stay right here in Maryland, west the mess. You know what I mean? Doubling down on dumb. Maryland could save millions of dollars. Montgomery County alone could save millions of dollars by deporting the people who aren't supposed to be here.
That's right.
You talk about schools, population health, because they have to live in clusters on top of each other. They don't come here wealthy. They're not getting a McMansion somewhere in Bethesda. They're in Tacoma on the barrio side of Tacoma. So when you think about all of the money that we're going to be saving, the schools that don't have to be built for the children that of these people who came illegally, the school buses, there's going to be such a savings, not to discredit the humanity of it. But if you really want to come to the United States, follow our law, follow our processes, treat us like you treat Canada. You don't see people hopping into Canada and staying, or better yet, try to go to Mexico and overstay your visa. See what happens.
The humanity was out the window when they let these people in illegally, and now we have a mess to clean up. Tyrone, what are your thoughts on this?
Justin Trudeau is going through Canada, and he's starting a program of kicking folk out. Okay. Now, if Justin Trudeau is doing, if Castro's love child is doing this, then, hey, this just says this is something that makes sense. We have to do it because, again, we're welcoming boatloads of people immigrate to this country every year legally. Raise their hands, say the Pledge of Allegiance, go, do the whole thing. You're in. So we don't have an immigration problem at all. Now, I made a statement earlier about the Democrats backing off of this. I will qualify slightly. One reason they may want to continue to risk bringing folk in and putting them in certain areas of the country is to boost congressional representation in blue states, because, of course, with the increase of population, of course, they would have to have more representation.
And money.
So, right. So that is one thing that they may want to continue to do. But this woman, the governor down there, she just seems par for the course, not a serious person at all, relying on talking points, no conviction, and apparently is not in tune with her own constituency. Didn't that state go red?
Yep. Sure did.
Yeah. I don't know. Carrie Lake, she didn't win.
Carrie Lake didn't win, but I think they got
for Trump.
3 other people definitely went for Trump, but 2 or 3 other people got elected.
Right.
The problem that Katie Hobbs is going to have is that the time is up. She's a Johnny come lately to a party that's already over. The time is up on this DEI woke, abortion. America's had enough. We've had our fill. You've made us feel really, really bad about not supporting your crazy for about 8 years, and we're over it. We have had enough. And the people of Arizona, definitely a border state, they have seen far more than the people in New York have. And now you hear the mayor of New York going, let me rethink this because this is just too much. I'm being over.
Oh, no, I know, Mayor Adams.
State. When you think of 250,000 people who live in your state are there illegally, the drain on the resources, and she's talking about resources, you would have plenty of resources if you did not have to care for these people who don't belong, who simply don't belong. And let me say this as a Black person, because people say, well, how could you say that as a Black person, blah, blah, blah. My American citizenship was paid for with the blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors.
That's right.
Make no mistake, this is my nation.
That's right.
And that border is not designed for you to jump when you want to. You have to come in through a legal port of entry, dance to the music. Although we didn't have that opportunity,
right?
We paid for it dearly in blood, sweat, and tears.
Right.
So miss me with that. We're kindred.
Absolutely.
We're not kindred.
No.
We're not. We are not the same.
This is what they do. They try to push this whole Marxist, communist agenda where we're all lumped in with this intersectionality, and they're trying to lump everybody into one pot. We are supposed to, understand and connect with the Palestinians, with the, gays, trans,
transsexuals.
No.
Right.
No.
Right.
That is
Right.
not the case. I'm on the side of truth. Okay. And truth to me is my Bible and God through his son, Jesus Christ. Okay. Now I can show empathy, and again, I can empathize with these people who, I don't agree with them coming over here illegally, but you do have some who did, and they've created lives for themselves, and, have family and younger people. I do empathize with them, but I understand you broke the law. There's a big chance you're going to be shipped back where you came from. I know this is the law. This is the law. This is how it goes. I don't connect with Palestinians. I just don't. That's just me. But I can empathize with these people. But I can still say, you know what? October 7th was wrong. That was something, right. So, this whole try to lump us all together, you can take that somewhere else, because it's not going to work with me. Okay, it's not going to work.
I think one of the things is it's even more basic than that. The fact that they came to us with it tells us what they really think of us. Period. That there used to be a saying that older people used to say all the time, they have no shame. They have no shame. They feel like Black people are a blank slate. Whatever they bring to us, we're just going to absorb and say, oh, yeah, we'll march with you. We have our own interests. We have our own culture. We have our own everything. Please stop using us as a sounding board and a gathering place for all of your lunatic ideas. This is not 1980 anymore, babe. We have grown up. The electorate is different. And they have to start seeing Black people no longer marching in lockstep with them, and they can just feed us anything. Sometimes, just sometimes, they're going to have to respect us. And we're still waiting on that, because there was no respect in this last election cycle.
Well, these are the same Democrats that, they try to convince you this Southern strategy BS. There were only two congressional switches that occurred. Only two. A Strom Thurmond, and the other one is lost to history. No one even knows who the hell that guy was. But this is par for the course with Democrats. They want to use Blacks simply as a means to an end.
Right.
Okay. Whether that means picking their cotton or putting them in positions where they can maintain political power is all the same. Okay.
And subjugate the rest.
Absolutely.
And they don't sit down and have any real deep thought around how these issues separate gays from Blacks. They tried to make the gay rights movement, this is just like the civil rights movement of 19. No, it is not. Okay. No gay person. I've never seen any sign that said gay people ride in the back of the bus. Okay. You can't hide this. All right. I've never seen any gay only water fountains. Okay. So their struggle is different, but to the liberal Democrat, it's all the same. Right. Means to an end.
It's transactional. All of their connections are transactional. This is the problem. I think you can only be disingenuous for so long before people call you on your stuff. And I think that's what happened during the election cycle. You can't tell people that they're not worth anything, and they're going, well, wait a minute. I feel like I'm a little something. I did a little something in my life. No. You only get to be oppressed.
Right.
The color of your skin means you're an oppressed person. Okay. But you're a Black woman. So you're a queen and you save the universe. You don't get to be oppressed today. You can only be oppressed on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The rest of the week, you need to be, super save-a-ho queen, going out here slashing demons and everything else. It makes me sick that no one, well, I shouldn't say no one. The Democrat candidate, Kamala Harris, never once addressed the American people as my fellow Americans.
She sure did.
Somebody who does I do a lot of public speaking. I write a lot of speeches. When you come across and say, my fellow Americans, or like I often say in emails, my fellow Republicans, it's an instant kindredship. So it clears the mind. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm standing on our common ground. Not once, my fellow Americans.
Oh yeah,
that's purposeful.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that, but yeah, that is. But they don't want us. They don't want to connect with us on that level. They want to use the idea of racial grift. They want to use the trauma of past transgressions of racism, of sexism, and things like that, and then push that out there as it's still relevant today in a major way. And then they tried to use that as the only thing to get votes, and it didn't work. But we still have people like The View, like Mika Brzezinski, like Joe Scarborough, that are now trying to backtrack because their ratings are falling. Because they may be out of a job because the racial grift is not paying like it used to. And here they are, where they actually went to Mar-a-Lago. I wish Trump had not met with them. I really
Same
do.
here.
But I want you guys to take a look at this clip. This is The View responding to Mika and Joe meeting with Trump at Mar-a-Lago this weekend. Clip 5.
The first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. For nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House with their vote. Joe and I realize it's time to do something different. And that starts with not only talking about Donald Trump, but also talking with him.
The bottom line is that America needs a free press that is willing to speak truth to power right now, more than ever. And I think that we have to be very clear-eyed when we think about the president-elect and cover the president-elect. And I don't think you need to sit down for 90 minutes at Mar-a-Lago and kiss his ring to be able to speak truth and to be able to cover a story. So maybe they're not journalists in the true sense. Maybe they're saying that they're opinion journalists. But we have to remember that Trump is the guy who ushered in the era of fake news. He is the guy who ushered in alternative facts. He is the guy who attacked 3 Black female journalists. He's the guy that revoked Jim Acosta's press credentials for asking him a question. And so I think that this president-elect, I hate to say it, would like nothing more than to have only Fox News cover him, would like nothing more than a state-sponsored media. And I don't think he can be trusted in the way that other presidents can be trusted. This is an aberration.
But the reality is he doesn't just have Fox News. He didn't do a lot of mainstream media this election, but he went on Joe Rogan and reached 50 million people. Yeah. None of us could talk to Donald Trump again. No mainstream legacy media could. And he's still going to reach the vast majority of this country. So I actually think extremely highly of both Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. I don't think this is opportunistic. I don't think that this is a judgment on their character. I think they recognize 75 million people voted for this guy. He will be in power short of something, an impeachment for the next 4 years. So where can we make some changes on the margins? My first day, if I could say real quick, my first day in the Trump White House working for Pence was the day of the Las Vegas shooting. Donald Trump worked with Congress to ban bump stocks. The Supreme Court later overturned it. One small thing like that could save lives. I'm not going to say I don't want to change anything if I have to acknowledge that this person exists and speak to him. I'd like to have marginal change.
Wow.
Look, somebody in the chat said Sonny is the devil. Sonny is the devil's wife, and the devil sent her up here because he can't stand her. All right.
Right. She had to leave.
She contradicted herself by saying, "Hey, Trump only wants to be interviewed by Fox News. Why the hell he take the meeting with the two from MSNBC? If that were true, okay, those two are so transparent in the fact. I have met meth addicts that have more integrity than those two. Okay, it's just a shameless attempt to hold on to their jobs because they know that the jig is up. People aren't watching your crap, anymore. Your ratings are cratering, and they just wanted that. Trump, I disagree with him. I would have told both. I'd have said, "Hey, give me that phone, Joe, Mika, you both on? Kiss my black ass," and then I would have hung up, and that would have been the end of that.
He's too nice. He's too forgiving. He should not have given them anything, not even a hello would I have given Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough.
Right. I'm not going to save your career. Right.
Bottom feeders.
I don't know. I think I'd like to see him come crawling in on their belly. I think, that does it for me. But I know from just the couple of times that I've had the great pleasure, he is a very positive person. So he's looking for ways to bring the country together. He realizes not everybody in this nation voted for him, but he does want to have support. Now, he gets that legacy media is never going to be his friend. He realizes that, and that's why he didn't do a bunch of legacy media during the election cycle. However, Joe Scarborough used to be a fairly decent person.
Used to be a fairly decent person. The problem is that, he's been drinking a lot of Kool-Aid and, probably giving him a little bit of the heartburn, especially with MSNBC allegedly being up for sale, and they can't sell it because the ratings are in the tank. I think they were at like a 695 when they should be somewhere up around 9. So it's a long drop to the bottom. And if me and my wife were on the show together, me and my husband on the show together, somebody got to keep, the kids fed. Somebody's got to make sure the dog's got a house. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about, though. Trump does not need them. They need him for ratings.
Really?
And so what has happened is the election where he wasn't close, he won in a landslide. Now these media, mainstream media, legacy media people are saying, wait a minute. I can't play the racial grip. That's not going to get me the ratings anymore. I can't continue to talk about Trump. Most of the country voted for him. I got to get on the good foot. Even Alyssa Farah, who was always talking about how much she hated Trump on The View, now even she's trying to push back at the other hens now. Not because she's changed any thinking or something, a light bulb went off. Yeah. She sees the gravy train.
Absolutely.
Trash. They are such trash.
She saw the gravy train to get on the show in the first place. When it benefits, there's this, some people are just slimy. When there's a chance to make a few bucks and it means that you have to damage somebody else's reputation, there are people who are just jackasses and they take that opportunity. They have no integrity, sitting under the hot lights and having your name in a bar underneath your chin, doing somebody's show, being a talking head. If that's the way you pay your bills, you're going to blow whichever way the wind blows.
And nobody likes that.
Exactly. Nobody likes a traitor.
They're in the amount of opportunities in that business is very, very slim because you've only got a few networks. Okay. They're only passing out so many multi-million-dollar checks. And the greatest thing of all is that shows like this, Poppin' Politics, is eating their lunch. People are taking this platform much more seriously than they are these stuffed shirts. And you better believe that these executives are looking at shows like Poppin' Politics and saying, hey, wait a minute now. There ain't no $1 million set, okay? There's no multi-million-dollar production budget here, but they still reaching people. And we paying Anderson Cooper $20 million. Believe me, they are
to go where the wind blows.
Well, listen, they're gonna get Don Lemon. That's what's gonna happen. They will get Don Lemon, and they'll be recording out of their kitchen just like he does. The problem is, you know, what happens when the echo chamber collapses, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the echo chamber starting to collapse. One thing that you can say about Joe Scarborough, regardless of where he falls politically, he is a very smart man. He's incredibly bright. The problem with that is I think that he overplayed his hand when he went, Trump is a Nazi, Trump is a this, Trump is a that. But he also believed the Democrat Party, the DNC, when they said there's no way that he can beat her. God awful Donald Trump, and she's a woman of color, and you know, Joy and Brad Summer and all this other stuff, and Oprah's behind her. There's no way that she could lose. She lost bigly, as Trump would say. Bigly she lost, and now they're all scrambling for cover. They're scrambling.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work because people smell the fakeness on them. They do. And this is why people are running to programs like ours, like Joe Rogan, who are authentic. You know, you come from a place of really trying to find the truth, of curiosity. And that's what it is. You know, we're not trying to, you know, push. I mean, we are on the right. We are on the right. But if I'm searching for the truth and it leads me elsewhere, I'm going to talk about it.
Where it goes, right?
I'm going to talk about it.
But you can do that because we're not beholden to the defense industry, the Wall Street, the pharmaceutical industry. We're not beholden to them in terms of these advertising dollars that, you know, they're giving these media operations. You know, I'm not taking orders from BlackRock. All right. When I go on Soldiers of Finance, we talk about what I want to talk about. Okay. And the audience, this is the other big thing right here tonight. We're getting all of these chats come in here. We're not talking at people. We're talking with people. People have an opportunity to have their say and opine. And you know what? There's going to be somebody out there that says, hey, YouTube's free. Let me open up my own. Let me say what I got to say. Okay. The news media, the legacy news media has forsaken their public trust, and it is time for them to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Guys, if you value platforms like ours over Morning Joe and CNN and all those, hit the like button, please. Hit the like button because it helps to increase our reach. It helps to push us up because you believe it or not, unfortunately, there is a remnant, I should say, of people that still watch MSNBC, still watch Morning Joe and shows like that, and they're liking. So hit that like button, please. It does help to boost our reach. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Thank you guys so much. We have Laura with the $5 super chat. Says Barron showed his father about the podcast, so Trump is watching. So bye view. Oh, I pray to God that's the case. Yes. Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat says we have never been invaded because of the 2A. Absolutely, yes, indeed. And I do, folks. If you saw in the beginning of the show, I don't know. I just have an eerie feeling about the left and what they may be cooking between now and the inauguration. I'm asking all of our prayer warriors on here. We just need to continue to stay in prayer for our nation, for President Trump, for our families, that God's will be done and that he is a hedge of protection is put around him because these people are nuts. They're nuts. Amen. Laura Matisse with a $10 super chat says Trump is going to take care of all this. They got to go. Absolutely. Yes, Laura. Absolutely. Ren with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Says they've been flying them into swing states with the goal of fast tracking their citizenship. So they will vote Democrat and change the swing states to blue for generations to come. They must not be fast tracked in, but out. Absolutely. Yeah. Laura with a $2 super chat says, let her take care of them. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. We have Laura with a $5 super chat says, Sunny Hostin is the devil. She is. And you can just see how nasty she is. There's no joy there. There's no joy. No Sunny, nothing. She's
mean as a rattlesnake.
Chadwick with the $10 super chat says, this is the red pill and manosphere of politics. Feminists were calling it misogyny for years. Then over time, people started realizing the lie, which actually crippled the true version of feminism. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And we are seeing awakening. We are certainly seeing an awakening. Reports are showing it's really Gen X. Within this election, they're reporting that the Gen X is the ones that really broke for Trump, backing him by 10 points. Boomers, by contrast, split their vote between Trump and Kamala Harris. But Generation X is a demographic cohort, following the baby boomers. And preceding millennials. So you're Gen X if you were born somewhere between 1965 and 1980. And these are the ones that, are saying we're going to speak, we're going to think with our own minds independently. And we went with Trump. So I'm happy about that. I'm a Gen Xer.
Two of us, let me tell you, we got bills, honey. We don't have it to do. You can be, I'm so sick of ists, racists, feminists, fascists. I've had enough of isms to last me a lifetime.
Yeah.
Do you hear me? They make me so angry because it is so, disingenuous. If you want to talk to me, if we can disagree without being disagreeable, you're entitled to your opinion. In fact, I fight to the death for you to have your own opinion. Right. But you don't get to marginalize me by slapping an ist on the back of something and thinking you did something. I mean, it is so disrespectful. And we have got to get back to talking to one another again.
You don't get to have a delusion and then demand that I participate in it. You want to call yourself Sally? Go right ahead. I'll even call you that if you say that's your name. But I'm not participating in your delusion, okay? Because I tell you what, Wells Fargo is not going to participate in mine if I go in there tomorrow and say I'm identifying as a billionaire and I need to withdraw $1 million. You know what's going to happen to Tyrone? He might not be available for the next pop in politics. Okay, right. I'll be separated from my family. Right?
Yes, you'll be separated from your
family, right?
So yeah, these this whole thing, I think now people are at their wits' end with it. And I do want to say this: feminism, one of the isms, from an economic standpoint. If you look back, feminism was primarily orchestrated by the United States government in order to get another W-2 in the mix and out of the home. Okay. It wasn't enough for Ward to go and make a paycheck that was taxed. They needed June out of that house too. So they convinced her to come on out of there, which that homemaker job was, they convinced women somehow that it wasn't important. When in fact, now we see that it was integral to the cohesion of society.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
It absolutely is. I agree 100%. As somebody who, I really, really love working. Working is one of my favorite things. It gives me a sense of purpose, and it helps me with my ADHD to have a bunch of things going on at one time. I'm one of those people, right? But having a family means much, much more. It is so difficult nowadays to support yourself financially and be, cooking and cleaning and loving and all of that, nurturing to your children and your family members, because it seems like there are not enough hours in the day. But if I have to make a decision between how I spend those hours, I'm always going to err on the side of the family, because that's legacy wealth. That's legacy love that's going to just trickle down through your family line. Money comes and goes. Bank of America send me a house note every single month. They don't care rain, sleet, snow, if I'm happy, if I'm sad. You know, you got to make the mortgage. True enough. But when you have the spare time to spend, err on the side of family and love. You'll pay off dividends in a long, long way.
Absolutely.
You're
and
right.
it's never, you know, we all have our different ways we like to live, and it's always been like that. But the change, I believe, that has occurred within the last, I'd say 10 to 20 years, they mainstreamed all this stuff. You know, it was just, everyone has a life to live and they live it differently. And I'm fine with that. But it was never a situation where we changed the base level and what we knew worked across the board. You know, we knew that this was the way, 2-parent household, you know, that's most people should, that was the kind of the goal, I should say. And now it's just all gone by the wayside, and they're pushing all this madness and this craziness, and they're teaching our kids this stuff. And that's where they lost me.
Yeah.
And then when you believe in what we always knew worked, when you say this stuff is the key, you're demonized for that.
Right. And it, you know, KJ, I came up in West Baltimore. We never had a lot of money. Okay. But we had a loving family. And one thing that I look back on that our people did, and I grew up in a multi-generational household. Okay. 1 bathroom. Okay. 3 generations. So one thing that I look back on is just the love that they gave us. They, as you were speaking of earlier, the fact that we knew we belonged to something. Okay. I just don't know that in so many instances these days has been replaced by materialism, you know, worship of celebrities and whatnot. And it's tragic. So I don't know how we get back to that, but I can tell you,
we keep speaking up.
I absolutely, I wouldn't change my childhood for, oh man, if you said we can send you back, you'll be, you know, Elon Musk kid. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And I know we got to wrap, but I was raised in a single mom household, but my mother always, it wasn't something she strived for. It was hard. It was hard. And it wasn't something that she was, you know, pushing us to be. You don't need a man. You don't need this. That was never what she pushed us towards. She always said, you know, you find a good husband, you know, you get a good job, you get your education. She did push those types of things. But now you see these new mothers or these new women out here, they're not even pushing these young girls to get married. If anything, they're pushing to have a baby first. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. It was like, nobody's perfect. And, you know, people, you know, choose different paths of life, but it was always, at least back when I was young, you knew what was the right way to go. And there was always somebody, you know, an auntie or a grandmother who would say, no, you know, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to do this, you know. But now it's like that, those voices are far and few in between.
Sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are at the end of our times, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I got all of our super chats here. All right. Yes. All right. So thank you guys. We really appreciate all the likes, all the super chats tonight. We are building a community here that is needed. We saw that Trump won the election. Now it's time for, it's not over. We are just at the beginning. We have to continue to build our community of strong voices, of people who love America, God-fearing people who love the truth, patriots. We have to continue to stand together. Thanks, Kung Fu CJ says, bring back the family heroes.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, indeed. Ren with the $2 super chat says, we are all Generation MAGA now. Yeah, that's a good one right there. Generation MAGA. That's to be.
I like that.
I do too. Soul I hope I pronounced Soul Fue with a $20 super chat says, God bless you guys for your reporting. Thank you. And God bless you too. Absolutely. All right, folks, that does it for us tonight. Thank you so much. Until next time, we'll be back on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.